Serving as a window to the past, the Hanson Farmhouse that stands along Griffin Road near Southwest 106th Avenue would have endless stories to tell.
What we see supporting the house are the Dade County pine beams that are 8-inch by 8-inch by whatever the length is to the next pier. It's a very hardy wood.
Bill and Ellen Hanson are working to preserve the history of the oldest remaining house in Cooper City.
I mean, Bill knew the house, but he just knew it as his house. But the earlier history, which is so fascinating, including they go back to the Indians that were in this area before, and some of the Seminole Wars that were 2 miles from here.
Decades after the Seminole Wars, Ralph A. Horton bought the land and built a 2-story home in 1922. Unfortunately, the massive Miami hurricane of 1926 destroyed the house, leaving only the water tower.
The water tower is really fascinating. It's 18 feet high, and it shows how important clean water, plentiful water is to a family. And so they spent a lot of resources building that water tower.
We also think that the water tower is the last standing water tower probably in the county.
The house seen today was built sometime around 1928, and this time designed to withstand powerful hurricanes. But it wasn't until electricity arrived in this part of Broward County in the late 1930s that life would change.
You had to cook outside, the bathrooms are outside. There were a lot of hardships at that time with no electricity.
From the late 20s to the late 40s, the house changed hands 6 times. It was in the spring of 1947 when John Hanson, a freshly decommissioned pilot and flight trainer for the U.S. Naval Air Corps, and his wife Arlene fell in love with the house and bought it, after coming to South Florida from Cleveland, Ohio. New to Florida, the Hansons quickly learned that Mother Nature would not make life easy. This photo of Arlene Hanson, pregnant with Bill, shows her standing on the planks of wood to stay dry after heavy rains in 1947.
Planks had been laid over oil drums.
Oil drums, so that's what, those are some of the challenges that my parents had to make.
Despite the challenges, John and Arlene made it their forever home. And while they did not start out as farmers, they eventually established a tree nursery and became well known in the area.
And you talk to people, anybody in the nursery area or other related professions, oh yes, I knew your dad. Your dad did this, and yeah, we bought trees from him. So that was always gratifying too.
As Bill showed sections of the home, he also shared memories of what it was like to grow up here.
When I was 4 and 5 years old, I definitely remember playing off close by in the woods. When it was older, we had stables. There was a stables next door, and we had horses. And at that time, and this was in the early 60s, you could ride everywhere. And really what is Cooper City now was pretty much open fields, and we could just ride from one field to the next field to the next field, and it was really a great deal of fun.
Now, Bill and Ellen are hopeful they can find someone with the needed expertise to preserve a piece of history such as the Hanson Farmhouse, while paying tribute to the efforts of the early pioneers, including Bill's parents.
He definitely loved the house. My mother loved the house. It was very, very special. And if we can preserve it, that would be, and we're certainly in that direction, we would be very fortunate to be able to do that.